This is Greg Vincent, the editor of Top Producer with Top Producer Radio, talking to Alan Brugler with Brugler Marketing and Management out of Nebraska. And Alan, we saw some movement in the markets yesterday after USDA came out with the revised numbers from the October report that looked fairly good for corn and soybean producers, it looks like, and the overnight trade last night also looked good. And today we're seeing up markets again. Have we hit a bottom in this market?
Well, we're definitely, at least in a sideways trading range, a fairly broad one. We've kind of stopped the downward momentum here. Basically, since about the 15th of October, we've been chopping around, and we're pushing out to the high side today, so that's kind of a positive sign. We know we've got some fundamental support from that from the USDA numbers with the smaller soybean crop and the smaller corn crop. Soybean meal's acting pretty good, too. It's up above $280 today. The issue remaining for me is the Fed interest rate announcement, which will come out this afternoon. If the market's anticipating a fairly juicy half-point cut, maybe even a three-quarter point cut, my bearish instinct would be that we'll get a buy the rumor, sell the fact, that whatever the Fed does, the market will treat it as not enough. So I'm not really wanting to chase this rally, but I think it's a positive sign that it's developing. We've also got to keep in mind that this is end of month, and for some of the mutual funds and ETFs and so forth, it's end of the quarter. So you can get some unusual movement here in these next couple of days.
Yeah, October is always kind of a bad month for markets. So what do we expect for the rest of this week, and talk about strategy a little bit as we move into November and towards the end of the year?
Well, basically, in terms of strategy, we've been taking our short futures off. We've replaced them with some cheap at-the-money or slightly out-of-the-money puts. Or if we chose to keep the hedges, we bought some January calls in the beans, March calls, and so forth against them. So we're kind of getting a little more in tune with a price floor and a rebound from that. Again, October is, while it's a difficult month, is also a traditional time for the market lows, harvest lows, and we certainly see that in the cash side. We got the national average cash lows earlier in the month, right about on schedule. So what we need is just this technical environment to turn around a little bit, get these index funds to quit selling, to quit liquidating. If they just sit on what they've got and then we force some of the hedge funds back into the long side, I think this thing can climb out of the hole. So I don't think you make any more cash sales here. You may, if you're pretty heavily sold on 08 or even 09, you might start to look at buying some call options to re-own some of that or call spreads of some type. But I think I'd probably be inclined to wait till next week. Wait until this Fed thing clears out. Find out if the stock market rallies for real.
So let's talk about fundamentals in the market then, and come back to the USDA report, the revised numbers yesterday. I mean, sure, they were initially supported, but was there enough of a change there that we could be looking at support long term?
Well, I don't think so. I think the most positive aspect is that we did drop that soybean carry out to 205 million bushels. I know some of the bulls were a little bit disappointed that USDA increased they cut the use so that you ended up not getting as much of a drop in the carryover as what the crop production number would suggest. 205 million is not tight as compared to this past year, but it still doesn't leave a whole lot of room. If corn wants more acres in order to support the ethanol industry and a decent export program, the beans really don't have them to give up. They had a little more cushion before this report came out. The other part of that is, of course, that USDA did cut total acreage by a couple million acres here. Basically said it wasn't there after they dug back through the FSA data. So that does raise questions about how much we can expand total acreage for 09.
All right, that's Alan Brugler with Brugler Marketing and Management for Top Producer Radio. This is Greg Vincent.